Rich, are you ready?
Ready, sir.
Rachel, ready? Well then, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to San Juan Capistrano, 250 years and 15 minutes. We've got a very important script here. We'll help keep us on time because we're going to do this in 15 minutes. And I have the official stopwatch right here. Getting ready to start. San Juan Capistrano, 250 years and 15 minutes. We begin now. We begin our story all the way back in 1776 when Father Uniprocera came to town and started a beautiful mission here. Just to let you know, before we go any further, the first settlers in town were the Akashiman Native Americans, and they had been here for over 10,000 years. Now, having a play called 10,000 Years in 15 Minutes just wouldn't fly. Nobody thought it was impossible, so we're going to be starting this play when the European settlers arrived. And they did arrive. There was a very colorful bit of history there, and trying to do it justice would take volumes upon volumes. Just take a leisurely stroll around San Juan Capistrano for yourselves, and you will feel and be convinced that you are in a timeless place. A place that started as a Spanish outpost and turned into this vibrant, beautiful city that we live in right now that goes from the valley to the sea. A place that's defined by its open space, its equestrian heritage, and of course, the mission San Juan Capistrano that Father Uniprocera started in 1776. So,
Pardon me, but if you expect to tell the whole 250-year history in 15 minutes, well then you had better pick up the pace. I am so glad that we have these written chronicles here to help us tell the whole story. And your stopwatch to make sure we do it in record time.
Very, very true. Yes, of course. 15 minutes. Well, I better hurry. As I was saying, the mission here in town was the seventh mission that Father Uniprocera had established, and from its very beginning, everyone knew that it would be the jewel of the missions.
Spain's plan was to establish missions, military outposts, and settlements throughout California, to claiming to keep what would one day become California for its own.
That's quite true. Yes. That is quite true. So right you are.
After we completed the building of the 40 adobes outside the mission, for those that serve and protect, it was time to accomplish something greater, something lasting. The establishment of the Great Stone Church was our most ambitious building project to date. We began construction in 1797 and are expected to complete it in 1806. It will be a lasting monument to the supremacy of Spain that will last for hundreds of years or more.
But despite the best efforts of the builders and walls that were so thick that people believed that they would withstand any crisis or event, the builders could not have suspected that their entire creation would crumble during the great earthquake of 1812.
It was a massive earthquake. During an early morning mass on December 8th in 1812, the service was being held on Tuesday for the Feast of Immaculate Conception celebration. Father Francisco Sooner was in charge at the time. It was just after 7 a.m. when the great tower tottered twice and then toppled.
It was the second shock that took the tower down. 40 people died that day. 40 people died. And so I expect it's Spain's hope of keeping California in the name of the Spanish crown. Many of the missions in the area sustained heavy damage that day. The bell tower at Mission San Gabriel Arcangel collapsed. But in San Juan Capistrano, the damage was so much worse, and the great stone church was destroyed.
The next year was equally unsettling. One event that historians love to recount when talking about this time in San Juan's past is the ransacking and the looting of the mission in 1818 by pirates.
Actually, it was privateers that attacked the mission, not pirates. You see, in 1817, Captain Bouchard set sail on the ship called La Argentina, the first ship that circumnavigated the globe under the flag of the Argentine Republic. Though his victims sometimes said that he and his crew were pirates, in reality, he had a piece of paper called a Corsair license, you see, that allowed him to take action against any Spanish outpost that he would find anywhere. And so, technically, he was not a pirate, but a privateer.
You do know we promised to tell this whole story in 15 minutes?
Yes, of course. It was 1818 and 2 ships arrived full of pirates.
We simply requested some provisions and were rudely refused by those at the mission. We sailed under the flag of the United Provinces of Rio de la Plata.
Today, you would call that Argentina.
Of course, we required the mission sever their allegiance with Spain, a small price to be spared our wrath. And when they refused, Captain Bouchard ordered an assault on the mission, sending some 140 men and a trio of cannons to take the supplies that we had originally requested, by force, if necessary. The mission guards engaged our crew, but they were quickly outmatched, and I am proud to say we left several damaged buildings in our wake. However, we found very little in the way of riches. But we did collect the supplies that we had originally asked for, along with an ample supply of wine and brandy.
It was, I believe, 1821. Yes, when Mexico gained its independence from Spain.
Yes, the Mexican government had different plans for the mission and its lands than that of the Franciscans.
That's quite true. It was 1833.
Yes.
And the mission village was then disbanded and officially turned into the free civilian town that was for independent Acashimans as well as incoming settlers.
Yes.
I, Governor Juan Alvarado de California, hereby declare on this day in 1841 that this pueblo is reorganized into San Juan Capistrano, a town in its own right.
Yay!
Yes. Lands have been distributed as house and garden lots for farming, and this is a new era for anyone within the sound of my voice.
Despite the governor's grand plans, the town struggled and settlers were not as numerous as needed for a thriving community. Even the mission was falling prey to vandals and was eventually abandoned. That is so sad.
A Secularization Act was passed in 1833, yes it was, to divest mission lands, but instead of going to the Indians as was originally intended, the lands were turned into ranchos and went to be owned by only a few powerful families.
Yes, since the Mexican government declared San Juan to be a pueblo instead of a religious parish, it was only a few more years when Governor Pio Pico had to hold a public auction to sell off mission, buildings, grounds, and orchards.
I believe that the year was 1845.
Sounds about right.
What about bid for this ruinous collection of abandoned building, farm equipment, and orchards?
I bid $100.
Is that all? Is that all? I hear 100. Who out there give me 200?
I will bid $200.
I hear 200. Anybody out there gonna give me 300?
I bid $300.
But I bid $400 in silver.
That is far less than sufficient.
Well then together we will bid $710 in gold and in hides.
I hear 710. 710 going once. 710 going twice. And the winners are the families of John Forrester and James McKinley. Congratulations.
Forrester and his family lived in the mission for nearly 20 years, and Don Juan Forrester, who had married the governor's sister, eventually would own nearly 250,000 acres across 3 48 counties.
It was less than a year that the United States declared war on Mexico, and that was to begin yet another chapter in the history of San Juan Capistrano.
The Forrester family moved out of the mission in 1864 when President Abraham Lincoln decided to return the mission to the Catholic Church.
No. I believe that it was actually the year, yes, 1865, when the document was finally signed, but we are getting ahead of our skis here.
A little bit.
The war with Mexico ended in 1848, and so the American victory resulted in the territory that was California to go to the United States, which resulted in some very major changes for San Juan Capistrano as well as California, because within 2 years, California became a state.
Hooray! It was September 9th, 1850 when California became the 31st state.
The fact that gold had been discovered here in California might have speeded up that process a little.
You think?
My name is Richard Egan. But some of you may have known I was known as the King of Capistrano, or simply George Egan by my friends.
A round of applause, everyone, for Judge Richard Egan.
Thank you. After the Civil War, I made my way west to San Juan Capistrano, and I believe it was the year 1866. Yes, it was 1866. I had saved up a little bit of money, and so I bought 600 acres of land, for I believe the price was $1.25 per acre. Oh, I know. I probably paid too much.
Judge Egan here was the driving force that brought the train to town.
Oh, that's right. In 1897, the Santa Fe Railroad laid tracks right through town. Soon came hotels, homes made of wood and brick rather than adobe. The town even got a post office. And more than that, I am proud to say that I was responsible for convincing those blasted bureaucrats up in Sacramento to split Los Angeles into what you now call Orange County.
Oh.
Many larger-than-life personalities have made San Juan what it is today. Take, for example, Madame Modjeska, an actress of world acclaim, and a close personal friend of mine. You know, that reminds me of a story that I told on many occasions before, that...
Excuse me. We do have 250 years to go through in 15 minutes.
Okay. Fine. Never let it be said that George Egan ever stood in the way of progress. Ladies and gentlemen, Madame Modjeska.
Yes, it is I, Madame Elena Modjeska. Yes, thank you. World famous actress who has made this town of San Juan her home. In case you did not know, they even named the canyon after me. My husband and I, we came to America in 1876. Too far, but that utopian experiment proved to be fruitless, milkless, and eggless. So we switched to ranching and orchards here in the beautiful hills surrounding San Juan Capistrano. And of course, the railroad opened up many markets we could never have reached via horseback or stagecoach.
Madam M, since we are sharing stories, I was part of the Los Angeles County Supervisors that drew the line to make Orange County. So, without Judge Egan here, you all would be standing in South Los Angeles right now. I have friends who have sheep and cattle grazing up on the hills.
Yes.
None of that would have been possible without the railroad.
And the railroads, they opened up more visitors to come visit the ruins or to visit the picnic grounds, the hot springs, or the dance halls over in the San Juan Hot Springs, just 12 miles out of town.
The San Juan Capistrano train depot opened up on October 8th, 1894. It was the precise halfway point between Los Angeles and San Diego, and it was a creation in its own right. Shortly after the Atchison, Topeka, and the Santa Fe railroads got rights to come to this part of the state, the depot opened up, and it was considered one of the finest depots on the Santa Fe line. Because of the train, they even built the cannery in town.
What, fish? You know I don't like fish.
Ashley, canneries don't always have to have fish. In fact, our cannery in town was mostly fruits, nuts, things like that, dried fruit like figs. Back in that day, having fig marmalade for breakfast was considered part of a normal breakfast. And San Juan Capistrano, under the name of San Juan's Best, would send fig marmalade from San Francisco to New York City.
And with the train depot, our cannery could ship local wines all across the country until a critter devastated the millions upon millions of acres of vineyards that made up what is now called Orange County. Anaheim, for example, the town that I was born in, was pumping out millions of gallons of wine annually until a tiny, aphid-like creature spread rapidly and devastated Orange County's vineyards in the Capistrano Valley.
By the 20th century, wine production in Orange County had been completely devastated.
That's right. In 1897, the Valencia orange became the dominant fruit in the Capistrano Valley. Farmers who once planted citrus groves, or once planted vineyards, now planted citrus groves. And the county's reputation switched from Grape County to Orange County. All thanks to the railroad.
Even with this progress, the mission was not forgotten. Although the original surrounding buildings were no longer standing, restorations began in 1895. And then, when Father O'Sullivan was installed as the resident priest back in 1910, the real restorations began to make the mission into the jewel of the missions that we know today.
Excuse me, our time is almost done, and we did promise to tell this entire story in 15 minutes or less.
Right you are. Okay. With the popularity of the automobile, it soon became clear that the roads of Durban no longer be adequate. And so, a community forged with paved roads.
And modern buildings, garages, hotels,
Schools, parks, fruit packing plants,
stables, a drive-in theater, and even an airport.
San Juan Capistrano had an airport?
Oh yes, absolutely. From 1964 until the last plane flew out in 1977. Why do you think that road over near the freeway is called Aeropuerto?
Good point.
Hey, dudes, aren't you guys totally forgetting a really important part of San Juan's history? I know I've seen them around here somewhere.
Them, of course, the swallows, the famous swallows that Father O'Sullivan had made very popular. Yes, how could we have forgotten the swallows?
Right, how could we have forgotten the swallows and the ever-popular Swallows Day Parade that celebrates the return of the swallows around March 19th every year? Shameless plug.
Well, we are almost out of time.
But there's still so much to tell. With the interstate freeway going in 1959 to the land boom that grew the town from 1,000 people in the 1960s to what San Juan and Orange County is today.
Yeah, still, progress has totally replaced some of our really cool things like the drive-in theater that we had. And now it's over there. There's Denalt's Hardware and Chick-fil-A and Taiwan On too.
Shameless plug.
Before we go, because time is fleeting,
We might have time for just one last thing.
What might that be?
Why, a song, of course.
wander almost anywhere.
Anywhere.
Visit cities big or small. But let's tell you about this town right here. She is the greatest of them all. Our little San Juan. quit the rat race. San Juan, you've been our inspiration. Days are never blue. After all is said and done, there is really only one. And San Juan, it's you. One more time. Our little San Juan, we're always thinking of you, San Juan. We'll tell the world about you from the mountains right to the sea. You won't find a better place to quit the rat race. San Juan, you've been our inspiration. Days are never blue. After all is said and done, there is really only one. And San Juan, it's you. There we go. We have done this entire play in exactly 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Before we go, we'd like to give a very special thank you to the sponsors that have made this performance possible, starting with Barbara and John Hazeltine, the Fiesta Association, Joe Soto and the Soto Company, Carol Beck, Blanca's Restaurant,
And of course,
the Alliance for
San
San
Juan
Juan
Arts.
Arts.
Make sure to donate.
And one thing before we go, remember to stay melodramatic. If you missed some of this, we'll be doing it again at 3 o'clock. And if your friends want to see it, we'll be doing it again next Saturday at 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock. Yes. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.